Picture this. You've been hitting the gym for 2 years. Your business now pulls in 6 figures. You drive a nice car, you dress sharp. On paper, you check every single box dating coaches say women want. But when you're actually face-to-face with women, something feels off. They're friendly, polite, they'll go on dates. But they're never all in. They don't chase you. They don't light up around you. It always feels like you are the one making all the moves, and they're just along for the ride. Meanwhile, you've got this one friend. Lives in a tiny studio apartment. Drives a beat-up car. No impressive credentials to speak of. And yet, women go crazy for him. They blow up his phone. They fight for his attention. They'll cancel plans just to see him. You can't figure it out. What does he have that you don't? What if I told you that everything you've been taught about attraction is not just wrong? It's backwards. What if the very things you think make you irresistible are actually killing desire? And what if I told you the real secret to making women addicted to you has nothing to do with your abs, your income, or your achievements, and everything to do with your internal state? Today, we're going to dig into the hidden psychology of female addiction. I'm going to show you exactly how women can fall into deep, consuming desire for certain men, while staying completely indifferent to others who seem objectively better. But before we go there, I need to warn you. What you're about to hear will challenge everything you believe about attraction, success, and even your own self-worth. This isn't just dating advice. It's a total mental reset. A new lens that will change how you see yourself and how you move through the world. So pay attention, because once you understand this, you'll never see attraction the same way again. Let's start by dismantling the biggest lie men have been sold. Society has convinced you that female desire works like a checklist. Stack up enough value, status, and achievements, and women will automatically want you. The blueprint they hand you looks like this: get in shape, make money, build social skills, learn game, show your worth, and supposedly women will fall in love with you. They've told you attraction is about chemistry, compatibility, and proving your value through accomplishments. But here's the problem. Men who buy into this idea often spend years polishing their resume and still can't spark genuine desire. They end up frustrated, bitter, and confused because they've been following a roadmap that leads nowhere. Here's the truth no one wants you to hear. Women don't fall in love with your achievements. They fall in love with your internal state. They don't get addicted to what you have. They get addicted to who you are when nobody's watching. The most magnetic quality a man can possess has nothing to do with his net worth, his body fat percentage, or his social status. It's something much rarer. And most men will never develop it because they're too busy chasing external validation. Let me introduce the concept that changes everything. Sexual market value discrepancy. This is the hidden engine behind every case of female obsession. Women only develop deep, consuming attraction when they perceive a man's sexual market value as significantly higher than their own. Now here's where most men get it wrong. Sexual market value isn't determined by objective things like money or looks. It's determined by perception. And perception is controlled by your internal state. Let me paint you a picture. You're at a bar with 10 people, 4 men, 6 women. One guy is a multimillionaire. He's fit, wearing designer clothes, the works. Another guy, broke, old car, basic clothes. Someone makes a comment, and the broke guy fires off a perfectly timed, razor-sharp response, without even trying to be funny. His delivery, calm, confident, authentic. In that instant, every woman in the room feels more attraction toward him than toward the millionaire. Why? Because he just radiated higher sexual market value through his energy, not his possessions. This is the part most men don't understand. Sexual market value is about energy, not inventory. It's how you carry yourself, not what you carry in your wallet. A man with internal confidence and authenticity will always outrank a man with bigger achievements but weaker energy. Women use what I call the frame of value system. It's how they rank and categorize men in seconds, and it has nothing to do with your resume. When she meets you, she's not doing a mental math problem about your income or muscle mass. She's reading your energy signature. She's unconsciously asking, does he know his worth? Is he looking for my approval? Does he need me to validate him? Is he at home in his own skin? And within seconds, she drops you into one of two buckets. Above me or below me. If you're above her, she'll start the process of becoming addicted. If you're below her, you could be the most impressive man in the room, and she'll still lose interest. Here's the cruel irony. The men who try hardest to impress women almost always end up in the below me category. Because when you're working to prove your worth, you're announcing that you don't believe you already have it. That's the kiss of death for attraction. Meanwhile, the guy who isn't trying to prove anything, who's comfortable with himself, who doesn't need external validation, automatically signals higher value. And that's when the addiction starts. One of the strongest triggers for female obsession is preselection, the sense that other women want you. But most men botch this completely. They think preselection means flirting with other women in front of her or bragging about their dating life. That's amateur stuff, and it backfires because it shows you're trying to prove your value. Real preselection is subtle. It's the quiet confidence of a man who knows he has options, but isn't desperate to use them. It's the way he moves through the world as if his worth is already settled. When a woman senses that other women are drawn to you, she doesn't just feel competitive, she gets curious. What is it about him? That curiosity is the spark that starts the fire. But here's the thing, you can't fake preselection. Women have evolved to sniff out inauthenticity on a subconscious level. If you're pretending to have options but are secretly desperate for her attention, she'll feel the mismatch instantly and lose interest. This leads us to one of the most important distinctions in attraction: internal value versus external value. Most men spend their whole lives building external value, money, status, achievements, looks, but they completely neglect their internal state. They think that if they stack enough external markers of success, they'll magically become confident. Here's what really happens. You can hand a man $5 million, perfect abs, celebrity status, and model-tier looks. If he's still insecure inside, he'll still be unattractive to women. Meanwhile, a man with average circumstances but rock-solid internal confidence will have women competing for him. Why? Because women are drawn to energy, not assets. They fall for the way you make them feel, not what you can buy them. When your confidence comes from external achievements, it's fragile. It's conditional. The moment those achievements are threatened, the moment you lose the job, the money, the status, the body, your confidence collapses with them. But when your confidence comes from genuine self-acceptance and internal peace, it's unshakable. The men who get this stop chasing validation and start building something stronger, internal strength. They become outcome independent. They're self-validated. They don't need applause or approval to feel good about themselves. And those are the men women get hooked on. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man seeking validation. When you rely on her compliments, her attention, or her approval to feel worthy, you enter what I call the validation death spiral. This is why so many successful on-paper men still struggle in dating. They've built an identity that needs external applause to survive. They're like rich beggars, plenty to offer, but still begging for approval. Women pick up on this instantly. If you don't believe in your own worth, why should she? The men who inspire female obsession operate from the opposite mindset. They validate themselves. They know their value without needing confirmation. They can take a compliment without clinging to it, and they can take criticism without collapsing. This is rare. Most people are constantly seeking approval, so when you meet someone who doesn't, their value shoots up in your mind. Another incredibly attractive quality? Being fully present. It sounds simple, but it's rare. Most guys live in their heads, stuck in the past, worrying about the future, planning their next move, calculating what to say next. When you're with a woman and you can be fully there, listening, engaged, comfortable with silence, it creates a magnetic pull. She feels seen. She feels heard. She feels like she matters in that moment. Presence also communicates confidence. A man who can sit still, who isn't anxious to perform, is a man who's grounded in himself, and that's rare. Here's a thought that will mess with your head. Most of your goals and insecurities aren't even yours. They've been programmed into you by society, by media, by your peers. Think about it. Why do you want the six-pack? Why the expensive car? Why the six-figure income? Be honest. It's probably because you've been told those things will make you attractive, successful, and worthy. But what if you erased all that conditioning? What if you asked yourself, what do I actually want? Most men never do this. They're too busy chasing goals that aren't even their own. The men who create obsession, they've broken out of that matrix. They live by their own values. They pursue what genuinely excites them. They define success on their own terms. And that authenticity is magnetic. Here's another truth most men avoid. You don't actually want money, abs, or status. You want the confidence you think those things will give you. That's why some of the most successful men are still insecure, and some of the most ordinary men are rock solid inside. Because real confidence doesn't come from self-improvement. It comes from self-acceptance. Now here's where it gets controversial. When sex is your primary goal with women, you hand them all the power. If your happiness and self-worth depend on whether she sleeps with you, then she controls your emotional state. She can give it to you or take it away, and you'll ride that emotional roller coaster. Women can sense this desperation immediately. When they know sex is what you're really after, they know they have leverage. But when sex isn't the goal, when you're genuinely interested in the connection, the moment, the person, you keep your power. And here's the paradox. That's when she's more likely to pursue you sexually. Because you're not acting like a man starved for it. Sometimes, the most attractive thing you can do is say no to sex. When you can turn it down because you're not in the mood, because you want to build more connection first, or simply because you choose not to, it sends powerful messages. You have options. You're not desperate. You value more than just physical pleasure. You can't be easily manipulated. That's rare. And rarity is attractive. At the core of male attractiveness is stoicism. Not in the robot with no emotions way, but in the emotionally stable and grounded way. When you can maintain your internal state no matter what she says or does, when you're steady in the storm, you become magnetic, because you're showing strength most men don't have. Stoicism also lets you be truly present. When you're not chasing outcomes or seeking approval, you can just be there. And that's where real connection happens. Here's a fundamental difference between men and women that you need to understand. Men are visual. We're drawn to what we see. Women are emotional. They're drawn to how they feel. That's why women can become obsessed with men who aren't traditionally attractive, and completely indifferent to perfect-looking men who don't make them feel anything. When you understand that women fall in love through emotions, you stop obsessing over your looks and start focusing on the experiences and feelings you create. Grounded men, men who are comfortable in their own skin, are magnetic in today's world. Most people are anxious, reactive, and restless. Groundedness is like water in the desert. It makes women feel safe. It makes them feel drawn in. And it shields you from the traps that kill attraction, neediness, reactivity, outcome dependence. When you're grounded, you keep your center no matter what's going on around you. The ultimate secret to creating female obsession? Internal peace. Being okay with who you are, where you are, and what you have right now. This doesn't mean you stop improving. It means your growth comes from self-love, not self-rejection. When you have internal peace, a few things happen. You stop chasing validation. You become naturally confident. You're comfortable with silence. You don't need anyone to complete you. That's intoxicating. Because in a world full of insecure, restless, approval-hungry people, someone who's genuinely at peace with themselves is a rare find. Women get addicted to men who can create authentic connection. Not we both like the same music connection. Not we both love hiking connection. I'm talking about the kind of connection where she feels truly seen, understood, and accepted for who she is without masks or games. To create that, you need presence, empathy, and emotional intelligence. You need to be able to read her energy, pick up on her emotions, and respond authentically, not strategically. Most guys fail here because they're in their heads, thinking about their next move instead of being present. The result? They miss the moments where real attraction is built. The deepest attraction happens when masculine and feminine energies meet in perfect polarity. This isn't about old-school gender roles. It's about energy dynamics. Masculine energy is presence, direction, strength, groundedness. Feminine energy is flow, emotion, intuition, receptivity. When a woman meets a man deeply rooted in his masculine energy, she feels safe to relax into her feminine. That contrast, that polarity creates a magnetic pull. The problem is, a lot of men today have lost touch with their masculine energy. They've become reactive, overly emotional, and dependent on validation, traits that lean more toward the feminine. Meanwhile, many women have had to step into masculine traits just to survive and succeed in the modern world. So when she meets a man who's steady, grounded, and unshakably confident in himself, it flips a switch inside her. One of the most powerful traits you can develop is non-reactivity. This means you stay steady no matter what she says or does. You don't get overly excited when she compliments you. You don't get rattled when she tests you. You don't get anxious when she's distant. That non-reactivity sends a loud message. You're emotionally stable. You know your worth. You're not desperate for her approval. You can handle pressure. You're not predictable or easy to manipulate. When you're non-reactive, you force her to work harder to get an emotional response from you. And when she's investing energy into getting you to react, she's already getting attached. So, how do you start living this way? First, audit your motivations. Look at what you're chasing right now: money, status, fitness, skills, and ask yourself, am I doing this for me, or because I think it will impress other people? If the honest answer is to impress, you're in the validation trap. Second, develop internal validation. Start getting your sense of worth from inside yourself. Practice self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love. Learn to approve of yourself without needing anyone else to do it for you. Third, cultivate presence. When you're with someone, be with them. Put your phone away. Stop planning your response while they're talking. Let there be pauses. This alone will change the way people, especially women, experience you. Fourth, embrace authenticity. Stop trying to be what you think women want. Be exactly who you are, even if that means some women won't like you. Yes, that requires courage. But authenticity weeds out the wrong people and draws in the right ones. Fifth, develop stoicism. Learn emotional regulation. Stay calm under pressure. Stay grounded when things don't go your way. This is the foundation of real masculine energy. Finally, create internal peace. Do the inner work. Heal your wounds. Face your insecurities. Whether that's through therapy, meditation, spiritual practice, or personal growth, do what it takes to become okay with you. This isn't just about dating. When you live this way, you become the kind of person who attracts quality people in every area of life: friends, business partners, allies. Because authenticity, presence, groundedness, non-reactivity, and internal peace are universally attractive. Now, a warning. Do not use these principles to manipulate or harm women. This knowledge is powerful, and with power comes responsibility. The goal is to build genuine, mutual attraction, not to play with people's emotions for selfish gain. Remember, women are human beings with their own desires, fears, and vulnerabilities. Respect that. The ultimate secret is this: become so at home with yourself that you don't need anyone to complete you. When you're truly self-sufficient emotionally, when you're genuinely at peace with who you are, when you're living life on your terms, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because you are. This isn't about tricks or lines or game. It's about transforming from the inside out. It's about becoming the man you respect, the man you'd want to be even if dating didn't exist. And the irony? When you reach that point, when you're complete without anyone's approval, that's when women will start chasing you. Because you'll have the rarest quality of all in today's world: a man who knows his worth and doesn't need anyone else to confirm it.